Listen, man, this guy might just be the best lightweight in the world. Since Islam's gone, he's really good, man. He's big, he's strong, he's physical.
Mauricio Ruffy, that's going to be insane.
Mike Cano versus Ortega.
That's this weekend, Jamie.
Oh, sorry, which one did you want?
So smart and so disciplined and so like completely focused and
Good at
dialed
everything.
in. Great at everything.
Great at everything.
Great at everything. And the crazy thing is, didn't even start as a striker.
Arman Tsarukyan has beaten better competition. His stylistically more difficult based on his ability to. He's more durable. He wrestles better. He's just a more stylistically much more difficult fight.
I'm probably leaning towards Arman to get the fight. Yeah, he's a Jackson athlete.
Yeah.
But even outside of that, I think his well-roundedness will get him done. But it's a very big test.
If the fight stays on the feet,
Yeah.
Arman gets knocked the fuck out.
With UFC 331 approaching, attention is turning toward Arman Tsarukyan's return against Mauricio Ruffy. For Tsarukyan, the fight carries major importance as he looks to put himself back in position for another lightweight title opportunity and potentially a matchup with Justin Gaethje.
Have you been told you win this fight, you will finally fight for the belt, you will fight Justin Gaethje?
Correct.
You have been told this?
Yes.
Is it in writing or is it just verbally?
No, just saying. That's enough for me too.
From Hunter Campbell?
Yes.
You believe him?
Yes, I do.
TJ Dillashaw calls Arman Tsarukyan versus Mauricio Ruffy a tough test, praising Ruffy's creative and precise striking. Still, he gives Arman the edge because of his well-rounded game, strength, and elite conditioning.
Sick fight. I'm pumped for it. I think it's also a tough fight for Arman, though, right? Like, I'm a big fan of Ruffy. The way that he fights on his feet, he's very creative. He's a sniper. He's going to be a problem, but because of Arman's well-roundedness, we know where he's going to want to try to take the fight. He's very strong. His conditioning is insane. I'm probably leaning towards Arman to get the fight. Yeah, he's a Jackson athlete.
Yeah.
But even outside of that, I think his well-roundedness will get him done. But it's a very big test.
Michael Bisping believes Mauricio Ruffy's striking could be a major problem for Arman, but he expects Arman's superior wrestling to take over, using takedowns and control to neutralize Ruffy's power and creativity.
If the fight stays on the feet,
Yeah.
Arman gets knocked the fuck out. No, he does. He does. I'm telling you right now.
That's crazy,
But it won't stay on the feet. Yeah. Look at what Benoit Saint-Denis did to Mauricio Ruffy. Ragdolled him. Face cranked him in the second round. Don't tell me that Arman Tsarukyan is not a better wrestler than Benoit Saint-Denis, because he is. And that's just a fact. And that's exactly what he's going to do to Mauricio Ruffy. If he stays on the feet, Ruffy's got the skills. He's tall, he's longer, he's quick, he's super slick, he's got spinning wheel kicks, knockout power, all that shit. But what good is that if you're on your back with Arman?
Demetrius Johnson agrees that Arman Tsarukyan needs to close the distance and get Mauricio Ruffy to the ground. He warns that Ruffy's unusual movements and striking could make things dangerous on the feet, so Arman needs to force him onto the back foot and impose his grappling.
And that's what I agree with everything Michael says and TJ. It's like Arman's got to find his way across the distance, get his hands on him, and to get him to the ground. Because if he does stand with them, he's got to deal with that. You know, the weird movements. Like, you see it, and then when you actually get in there with somebody, it's like the way TJ moves. He moves a certain way, and if you're not used to seeing that, that's why you get knocked the fuck out, right? So I think Arman needs to get him to the ground and then just do what BSD did to him.
Arman needs to put Ruffy on his back foot.
Yeah.
You can't let him have that space and be creative like Esteban did against, like, to an extent without getting caught, but like going forward, putting him on his back foot, because he wants that space. He wants to feint. He wants to spin. He wants to be creative. But if you keep him on his heels and keep him reacting to your movement, he can't be that creative.
Yeah, we saw Arman close the distance against Hooker and kind of control the fight, even though Hooker had the length and the height on him.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So,
but to be honest, Ruffy is better on the feet than what Dan Hooker is. And Dan Hooker's also got a lot of miles on the clock. Respectfully.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sean O'Malley highlighted Tsarukyan's elite wrestling against Ruffy's dangerous power. He warns that Arman could face serious problems if he cannot establish his takedowns early, but a strong performance could put him right back into the title picture.
Arman's been having this crazy out of the UFC run, wrestling, doing jiu-jitsu, vlogging, he's everywhere. Against Ruffy, who's coming off a beautiful KO over Michael Chandler at the White House. Dude, this is an interesting fight. Ruffy throws power shots, big shots, boom, boom. He did get out grappled against Benoit, and that is Arman. Arman's gonna maybe come out there, try to take him down, but he's gonna be running into some serious danger, because Ruffy doesn't come out there and throw a bunch of combinations, let you get under his legs. He bounces around and throws big, hard shots that he knows he's going to land, or at least he thinks he's going to land. He's not going to go out there and waste punches. He's landing. He's trying to knock people out, and that's going to be an interesting fight. That's a hard matchup for Arman. If he doesn't get him down and control him right away, that's going to be an interesting fight. And I want to see Arman fight for a title. I feel like he's deserved to fight for a title, but I really like Ruffy. I really like Ruffy, and I think this is an exciting fight. I think it's a coin flip right now.
And I think Arman would be a big name if he was in a title fight as well.
Yes.
MMA Guru also puts much of the matchup on Tsarukyan's wrestling. He notes that Arman's takedowns become harder to rely on against strong defensive wrestlers, making Ruffy's ability to stay upright a crucial part of the fight.
Arman, he strikes a bit. He does grapple, and he did do really easy in the grappling against Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
But against people with a certain level of takedown defense, he does kind of struggle to get them down.
Yeah.
Here and there. Like we saw against Mateusz Gamrot, who's a great grappler, but some of these strikers are starting to figure that out. I don't know if you saw Quillen Salkield get the win over Gamrot and dominate.
Dude,
but that was really impressive.
That was very impressive.
In another interview, Guru stresses the danger Ruffy brings whenever the fight stays standing. Arman has been hurt before, and one clean shot from the Brazilian could quickly change the momentum, giving Ruffy a clear path through his power, while Tsarukyan has the more dependable wrestling route.
Ruffy does pose a threat. You know, we've seen Arman Tsarukyan wobbled before. He's been KO'd earlier in his career. When I landed that knee to his body in our grappling match, I did feel him go a little bit. So there is some like durability issues. I don't want to sort of go too deep into that. But if there's a way to beat Arman, it's to catch him and do some damage to him, or catch him in a finishable position like Charles Oliveira did with the submissions. But Ruffy ain't got the submissions of Oliveira, so his best bet is going to be to go out there and score a KO on Arman Tsarukyan in the first or second round of this fight. Could he do it? Yes. But I don't know, man. I think Arman's got this one. All of the work he's been doing in his grappling and his wrestling, and the amount of wrestling contests that he's been entering, it's going to be in tip-top condition to take a guy like Mauricio Ruffy down.
Joe Lopez adds another layer to Ruffy's threat, praising his unusual style. He also points to Ruffy's improving takedown defense, which could help him escape dangerous positions and return to the striking exchanges where he is most effective.
How do you think this fight with Arman's going to look?
Look, Ruffy's got a very unusual style, so it's very hard to prepare for it. He hits so hard.
Really hard?
Yeah. Really hard. He whack, and he's got such good timing and such a good eye. Like he just sets little traps up for you. Everything he does, he's doing it for a reason. You know, like I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, there's everything he does, there's reasoning behind it, and he's got such a good. Yeah, like I said, he's got fighter IQ, he's got a good eye, and I think the missing piece was his defensive wrestling. You don't have to be the best wrestler, you don't have to be the best submission artist. As long as you can get back up and knock him out, that's all he needs.
From there, Lopez questions whether Tsarukyan can keep Ruffy grounded consistently. He highlights Ruffy's athleticism and striking, but also notes that Arman's stand-up can create openings for his wrestling, making their strengths directly collide.
I'm telling you, he's looking good, and Arman's in for a fight. It's not going to be he's going to hold Ruffy down for 5 rounds and make it ugly. I can't see that happening. You know.
How do you
look? I can never say never, but you know, just watching Ruffy and how he's moving, and he's so athletic as well. He's such a strong, athletic guy, and he wants to learn, and he picks things up so quick. So, yeah, having him there, and he helps out all the other guys on the team. It's just great having him around. You know.
How do you feel like Arman's striking compares to Ruffy's?
Look, Arman uses his striking really to set up his grappling, you know? So, I mean, he has got striking, but predominantly he wants to take you down and maul you, you know? You know, he puts that, you know, that arm shield out, and, you know, he tries to get you on the back foot, and then he chases your legs, you know?
Jorge Masvidal gives Tsarukyan's grappling even more weight. He expects Arman to keep the Brazilian from finding the space needed for his striking. Jorge Masvidal said, Jorge Masvidal believed Tsarukyan's grappling would eventually overwhelm Ruffy. In his view, Ruffy had not made enough progress in wrestling to deal with Arman's pressure, particularly if Tsarukyan could force him to the fence and control him from there. Michael Bisping then looks at what Tsarukyan has done during his time away from the UFC. Rather than stepping away from the sport completely, Arman has remained involved with wrestling and grappling, giving him a way to stay sharp before returning to the octagon.
Arman Tsarukyan is finally returning. Okay, he's taking on Mauricio Ruffy, right? Arman Tsarukyan, we last saw him, what was it? October, November, taking on Dan Hooker, made short work of him, but since then, he's been absent. It's been almost a bloody year. Yes, he's the master of the side quest. Yeah, he's out there wrestling at RAF, he's doing all kinds of shit.
Tsarukyan running Faber off the mat.
He's staying busy. He's certainly staying in the public eye with the help of Nina Drama, flying all over the world in his private jet, doing podcasts, just doing appearances, enjoying life, eating caviar, right? Just living it up, the son of a billionaire. Why wouldn't you do that, right? And he's taking on Mauricio Ruffy.
Bisping also puts a lot of stock in what Arman can accomplish with his grappling. If Tsarukyan can consistently dictate the positions and neutralize Ruffy's offense, Bisping feels that kind of performance could push him closer to the top of the division once again.
But if Arman Tsarukyan beats Mauricio Ruffy, and I'll say it early, right? He probably will. He'll probably just do what Benoit Saint-Denis did. Mauricio Ruffy, he's awesome to watch. I mean, look at that spinning wheel kick over Bobby Green, right? It was phenomenal, but more than likely he's going to get taken down. Arman Tsarukyan, especially in Los Angeles, right, with a massive Armenian community, right? He's going to have a lot of support in the building. That's why he's on the card. That's why he was fighting Islam Makhachev there, right? He's probably going to ragdoll him, but he's going to have to make some noise on the microphone because Ali said for Justin Gaethje, it's only going to be a big fight, okay? Is that a big enough fight? Well, some might argue that that doesn't even matter, right? Because he's the number one contender, and when you're taking out prospect after prospect, and you're beating people like Mauricio Ruffy, who's up there in the rankings, then he deserves it. And I agree.
Even then, Bisping warns against overlooking Ruffy's ability to create sudden danger. A knee, spinning strike, or perfectly timed attack could change the fight quickly if Arman becomes careless during an exchange.
And Arman Tsarukyan versus Mauricio Ruffy, I'd put money on it early that he's going to go out there and ragdoll Mauricio Ruffy, but you never know. He might shoot and run onto a knee. He might get caught by a spinning wheel kick. Ruffy might just develop the best takedown defense known to man, seemingly overnight.
Mike Heck is considerably more confident about Tsarukyan's chances. He expects Arman to impose his style, keep Ruffy from finding sustained defense, and turn the matchup into another strong step toward a future title fight.
That I would pick Arman Tsarukyan to beat literally anybody he ever fights.
Of course.
He's been my dude from Jump Street. He is gonna absolutely run roughshod over poor Mauricio Ruffy. Like, this fight is not even going to be competitive for a moment. Arman's just gonna run his ass over. So, like, to me, I'm just like, okay, Arman pretty much, unless he slips on a banana peel and gets caught, he is going to fight for the lightweight title next. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to lose my freaking mind.
Another MMA analyst also leans toward Arman, with his experience against elite competition standing out as a major advantage. The expectation is that Arman will use that experience to take Ruffy away from his preferred striking range and make the fight revolve around his grappling.
Like, I do think it was, I think the fact that he's fought twice now since that you know, UFC 311 pullout, whatever, and said yes to Ruffy and said yes to Charles. And I think he was the official backup for the Ilya Gaethje fight as well. I feel like they're like, okay, he's one win away. Mm-hmm. But as much as I like Ruffy, I think that Arman Tsarukyan is going to take him down, beat the fuck out of him, to be honest. But
Demetrius Johnson, however, makes sure Ruffy's striking arsenal does not get overlooked. He highlights the Brazilian's unusual angles, long attacks, and unpredictable combinations, warning Arman that spinning techniques could create problems. Even with those weapons in play, Johnson still gives Tsarukyan the advantage and considers a victory important for his title ambitions.
He's so long, and he always looks away and throws combinations. What he did to Michael Chandler, Arman's gotta get on him. If I'm Arman, you know, be cautious, you know.
Yeah.
And the spinning shit. I mean, sometimes you just never know what guys like that are gonna throw at you. Right? You don't know if he's gonna do a spinning back kick, spinning elbow, upward elbow. Yeah. You just never fucking know. But I'm happy the fact that Arman gets the opportunity to fight, because if he wins, when he wins his fight, he should get the next title
We
shot.
say when he wins. this fight.
I'm going for my boy Arman.
Israel Adesanya adds that Arman should not be treated as a one-dimensional wrestler. He points to Tsarukyan's kicking ability and progress in the striking department, suggesting that his stand-up could give him another avenue to compete with Ruffy.
I think he's a dangerous guy. He's a dangerous guy because he's probably the closest to Islam in that weight class. Like, I can't wait till that fight transpires one day. I know we missed it, but I think when it comes to striking, like his striking is different to Islam. Like Islam is kickboxing.
Yep.
Very technical. I think Arman has got nice boxing, good kicks as well.
Yep.
But his kicks are flashy.
Yep.
Like also like, just sharp kicks.
But I would say Ruffy moves better. But Ruffy moves better on their feet. That's one thing that Arman's gonna have to solve.
Footwork. But distance. He's gonna need the distance.
Yes.
That's the thing. Ruffy's, that's the thing. If you give him space, that's how it works.
Yep.
So Arman is probably gonna close the distance ASAP.
Yeah.
As soon as possible.
The stakes also stand out to Nick Barnhill, who considers this much more than a normal lightweight matchup. A win over Ruffy could significantly improve Tsarukyan's position in the contender race and bring another title opportunity within reach.
Mauricio Ruffy is a smart guy. He's not going to close distance and try to take Arman down because that would be a world of trouble for him that would likely end as soon as the fight got to the ground. I think Arman's skills on the ground are next level. We're seeing a lot of wrestling out of him, but his jiu-jitsu and his submission skills are very high level, and I'm excited to see how this fight goes, because if Ruffy can come out with the same confidence he had at the White House, I mean, the biggest stage the UFC's ever put on, and he didn't have any pre-fight jitters. I didn't see any sort of issue or nerves out of him, and he went and dismantled Michael Chandler. If he can beat Arman Tsarukyan with how big a star Arman is right now, I mean, now you're talking about the Brazilian Conor McGregor for the lightweight division.
Barnhill also expects Ruffy to do everything possible to keep the contest away from Arman's strongest area. While Tsarukyan owns the advantage in wrestling and submissions, a major win over someone of his caliber could give Ruffy a huge boost of his own.
Ruffy's very interesting because it's a very clear #1 contender fight for one man. I don't think if Ruffy beats Arman that he draws into Justin Gaethje, but I think Arman Tsarukyan beating Ruffy would absolutely be the nail in the coffin, or the final statement that Arman needs to make ever since he backed out of the title fight with Islam Makhachev a couple of years ago. He's been in timeout with the UFC. He hasn't, done anything to really upset them. Obviously the headbutt, but everything else that he's done outside of the UFC has just gained his popularity. It's made him more famous. The UFC and Dana White himself even came out and said, I love what Arman's doing with Nina Drama. I love all the content he's coming out with. He's becoming the most interesting man in the world, and we love to have stuff like that. So I think Arman is back in the good graces. They just want to see him active, and they know that the champion Justin Gaethje isn't looking to fight until 2027.
Adding his perspective, Luke Thomas puts the spotlight back on the physical battle in the grappling exchanges. He expects Arman to use his strength and pressure along the fence to create takedowns, while questioning whether Ruffy has developed enough defensively since his defeat to Benoit Saint-Denis.
Probably is going to go bad. So there's a question of like, is this too much too soon for Ruffy relative to how bad he was against BSD? I understand that. On the other hand, like, they got to do something with Arman, and if the Charles fight wasn't available for one reason or another, they had to give him somebody. They've reportedly told him, according to Earl Helwani, that if he wins this, he'll get a title shot, which I think is the right call. Ruffy's building up some momentum, and it's worthy of saying as much. I mean, he was on that White House card for a reason. I think people really like the way that he fights. So, like, if Arman wins, he gets a title shot, which I think is important for the division. And if Ruffy wins, I mean, obviously it depends how he wins, but if he's able to resist the takedowns enough where you can be like, wow, he's really moved on from the BSD fight, and he wins, this is obviously putting him in title contention as well. So
Josh Thompson also highlights the intensity Tsarukyan can bring when he chooses to push forward. Arman's ability to maintain pressure and force opponents into difficult positions has made his style particularly challenging for other lightweights.
It's gonna be dominant. It should be a dominant performance. I should say it should be a dominant performance.
It should be, but we've seen Arman buzzed before.
Yeah.
Joaquim, what the hell was his name? Silva. Joaquim Silva had him cracked.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see, man. Though, I really enjoy watching Arman fight. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he just wrestles too much. He does this. The guy's, he's aggressive. He comes after it. He brings the action. I love watching him fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. That's for sure.
Meanwhile, Brendan Schaub is less convinced that Ruffy has enough experience for this level of challenge. He points to the Brazilian's previous opposition and his loss to Saint Denis as reasons to question how he will respond against a fighter with Tsarukyan's wrestling pedigree. Schaub ultimately gives Arman the edge, while recognizing that Ruffy remains dangerous.
Yeah, Hoofy's best win is over Fiziev. Fiziev's older now, man. Fiziev's older, and then he got absolutely mollywopped by BSD. He has the King Green fight. Yeah, I just think he's overrated, man. He's overrated. Again, it's MMA, so you could catch him with a flying knee or some wild shit, but Tsarukyan should absolutely mop the floor with him.
Finally, Chuck Mindenhall points out what each man stands to gain. Ruffy can use a victory over an established contender to make a major jump in the lightweight rankings, while Tsarukyan has an opportunity to turn his return into a direct push toward the championship picture.
I love this fight, man. I think it's fun. Like, you look at it, Hoofy coming up, he's a guy who's super hungry, been dying to get into this kind of catapult situation where he can just kind of take that pole position for the contender. But from Arman's perspective, I'm like, man, this is a minefield to have to fight this guy to get to your title shot. And that's strange.
That's all for the Arman Tsarukyan versus Mauricio Ruffy breakdown. With UFC 331 getting closer, both fighters have plenty on the line, and a win could change the lightweight picture. Let us know who you think gets the job done in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more UFC breakdowns.